SimRacing, Scuderia Ferrari Edition, the heart of the race.
Good afternoon, everybody. Formula Sim Racing back with you today with the Pro Championship Round 3 from the Azerbaijan Grand Prix circuit here in virtual Baku. And what a race we've got coming up for you. 41 laps of action here in the Pro division of Formula Sim Racing. Same cars as the World Championship, but a proving ground for the World Champions of tomorrow, perhaps. I'm Josh Anderson here on commentary here for Formula Sim Racing, and we are getting ready to go with qualifying of the Pro Series race. We've got the great Felix van Delft on cameras and helping me out with the commentary as well. And what a race we have coming up for you. Hello and welcome everybody who has tuned in so far and who may tune in the future as well. Baku, of course, fantastic circuit. We've got a fantastic race coming up for you as well, and I'm sure Felix van Delft knows just as anybody else does how tricky this is going to be for the drivers.
Yeah, Baku City circuit is an extremely difficult circuit, which has proven itself already earlier today when the academy drivers were challenging the track. I think we had about 10, maybe even more DNFs before the end of the race. So it's proving so far to be a very tricky circuit. It's difficult for the drivers to keep it out of the walls and get to the end of the race. But I'm sure as these pro drivers should be a bit more qualified or a bit better than the academy drivers, perhaps they will cope a bit better with the pressure.
Yeah, it goes Baku, 6 kilometers almost exactly. And, well, we have 2 DRS zones as well down the latter portion of the front straight, and then you got turns 1 and 2, and then you got another DRS zone directly after it. So plenty opportunities for the drivers to get overtakes done on the straights. And, well, I mean, people have their opinions about DRS. It probably, in this case, is really going to help overtakes happen, and we're going to see some very, very good dive bombs into turns 1 and 3, perhaps going to see some serious overtaking opportunities on what otherwise is actually a tough circuit to overtake on.
Yeah, definitely. Those long straights with the DRS included will definitely help the drivers to make some overtakes here.
And of course, well, the length of the straight you can see around the back end of the car, that's really going to give the drivers a chance to stretch their legs. In the FSR 2019 car, of course, in peak condition, this thing will put out 933 brake horsepower. Really a top tier formula machine. You'll be hitting 370 kilometers an hour on the straights, and at just 740 kilos, it's not that bad in the corners either. And you get 2 fuel mixtures, lean and rich, for when you want to save fuel and when you want to go that bit faster. And you've even got 2 turbo boost modes, race and qualifying, because these cars 1.6 litre single turbocharged engines, so up the boost you'll up the power, but also fuel consumption in its own right and all the other factors that come with that. So the qualifying boost very much for qualifying, and the race boost for when drivers want to tone it down a bit, try and get to the end of the race on that fuel load.
Exactly. So let's jump straight into that qualifying session. The drivers have been setting a few laps already, and I'm sure they will be doing a few others. So let's have a look who's currently the fastest on the track.
Yeah, of course, remember, drivers only get 12 timed laps here in the Pro Series, and at the moment Christian Lazaro is leading the standings, but only just. He's 0.014 ahead of Mark Hutchinson in the number 4 car there. You'll see the position light on the side of the car stating he is in second place. Mark Hutchinson, of course, very capable driver in his own right in the SimRacing car there, and he will know for sure, if he didn't before, he has got a challenge on here. Opens the DRS on the front straight here. He will be accelerating towards the top speed of this car, and he's really pushing the engine to its limits as he comes down. Has not improved on this lap, but we'll see if he does on the one he's on now.
Yeah, as you can see him coming through the tricky first part of the track. The first 2 corners very tight, easy to make a slight mistake and end up in the barrier or on the escape road right next to it. Now down the second DRS straight. Seems to be a clean lap so far for Mark Hutchinson. Let's see what his sector 1 time will be.
Yeah, Hutchinson really pushing hard here. We need to see what his sector 1 is time. How he's fast in the first sector to see just exactly how much of a chance he's going to have for pole position here. Obviously, we'll give you that as soon as we get it, but he is pushing hard as Mark Hutchinson here, really going for it in the number 4 car. Of course, Team SimRacing doing well, and he's on a 43.4. That's a personal best for Mark Hutchinson. Only a 10th down on Lazaro's fastest sector from his previous lap. So this is looking good for Mark Hutchinson thus far.
Indeed it is. Just came through that castle section, the iconic section of the Baku Street Circuit, of course. Managed to keep it out of the walls. Hopefully we'll see most drivers do that. Second sector for Hutchinson coming up now.
Yeah, Hutchinson, he is really pushing hard. 29.4, again, a personal best. I don't think this is going to be the fastest lap overall, but he's in the final stretch now. So if he's got less wing on than Lazaro, perhaps he'll pip it here. Shifts up to 12,200 before he opens the DRS. This is going to be a close one for Mark Hutchinson. I expect this is not going to be faster than Lazaro, but I may yet be surprised as he comes across the start-finish line now. And he has gone pole. He has surprises. That's a 1:38.3. He does go faster, and thanks to that 25.2, sorry, in that final sector, he has pipped it thus far. And Christian Lazaro responding immediately, going straight back out for more timed laps. He is wanting this pole position, and he's going to have to work hard to take it from Hutchinson. That was a brilliant lap.
Yeah, we can see already the differences in setup here in qualifying. Christian Lazaro obviously going with the lower down or the higher downforce setup and more grip through the first and second sectors. But Mark Hutchinson down the back straight just gained so much more time with the lower drag setting on his wings. Top speed for Hutchinson, 355 kilometers an hour. For Christian Lazaro, it was only 342. So 13 kilometers an hour slower on the straights. Surely that's gonna give him a slight disadvantage in the race as well.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be disadvantaged if he doesn't do something to increase the speed of that car on the straights. He's 13k down on Mark Hutchinson. In real terms, that's probably about 8-9 miles an hour. That is a lot of speed to lose, and well, that's going to help Hutchinson. That's why he's just going to turn faster, because he's gaining that much. Maybe that's what Lazaro was doing, maybe tweaking the setup a little bit, maybe trying to find some speed wherever he can, trying to get himself in a position where he may then take Hutchinson off that pole position and gain it back for himself. He's coming around the final 3 corners. He's actually positioned himself a couple of seconds behind Hutchinson. He is just lifting off here to try and create some space, get out of the dirty air before he starts his lap. Hutchinson, though, is on a lap 2, so Lazaro about 5 seconds back on Hutchinson on track, so they're close to each other. And this is going to be an interesting one to see, because Lazaro will be able to check how much he's gaining on Hutchinson, how much on this lap in particular he is beating Hutchinson by. So that is going to be an interesting one. Watch Tom Satherley, though, as well. He is on a good lap, 43.7 at the moment, his first sector, 2 tenths down on what is required, though he might find it in sectors 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think Tom Satherley is even running a lower downforce setup compared to Mark Hutchinson in the SimRacing cars. So perhaps that last sector is going to be even better than Mark Hutchinson was able to do just a minute ago.
Yeah, Satherley, of course, third in the championship at the moment, of course, and part of Go Speed Racing. He is going to be pushing as hard as he can. Satherley's previous sector 29.6, though that was actually slower than Aaron Frostland behind him. But he's getting the draft off Coleman in front. This is going to help him out. Will it be enough for pole position though? I'm not sure. He's starting to top out. 12,500 RPM. Sadly, is not going to go pole.
Not enough in that last sector indeed. Manages to improve his own time, but not gaining any positions compared to Christian Lazaro and Mark Hutchinson.
Yeah, that was a bit of an interesting one for him. I think he was just too slow in the first couple of seconds. Even with the draft in the third, it was not enough for him. And sadly, he's only got 4 more time. Well, in real terms, he's only got 2 more time laps left. That's as Hutchinson. Lazaro has 3, as there are 4 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. Remember, each driver gets a maximum of 12 laps on circuit. Obviously, in and out laps will detract from that. So, in real terms, Hutchinson probably has about 3 laps left. Lazaro has 4. He has the advantage there in that sense that he has more laps to potentially go faster, and he's 2 tenths down on Hutchinson in the second sector, but he was a tenth faster in the first, so this could be close. It could be an improvement at the very least, but we know he's slower on the straights. Lazaro does in fact fail to improve.
Indeed, 38.581, not enough to beat Mark Hutchinson.
No, Hutchinson very much secure in that first at the moment. Track's actually quite quiet at the moment. Arif Roslan, the highest placed driver on track at the moment. Only 100th down on Tom Satherley actually. So this is very close for third at the moment. Roslan, very capable driver in his own right. And as it stands, of course, Arif is, well, he actually DNF from his first and only race in the championship this year in Australia. Didn't do China. Now he's back as the Malaysian and trying for a seriously good result here. Roslan, of course, will want this third place or maybe even to go for pole because, well, to make up for that DNF in Australia, of course, but really to show what he's capable of.
Yeah, definitely he's proving himself so far to be pretty quick in that Invictus Motorsports car. Let's see, setting himself up now through the last couple of corners onto the main straight. Will want to get as much top speed as possible, obviously, to gain as much time. Every thousandth of a second will make a difference here. As you said, there's only 100th between him and Tom Satherley right now, so every millisecond counts.
Yeah, he's only just tipping 12,000 RPM into the first turn, so perhaps he's got his gearing set up for a slightly more torquier perspective. Of course, if you're using the torque band more, you are going to get more use out of the torque of the car with the turbocharger has. Roslan possibly using only up to about 12,000 to get the most out of it because, of course, the further away you go, the less torque you have. Roslan, we'll have to see if this tactic is going to pay off, though, through this qualifying lap for the Malaysian here in the Invictus Motorsport car, as you rightly say. And, well, we'll see what his first sector time is when it comes up. But the determination is apparent from Arif Roslan. He wants to improve on his time. And in fact, he has just done a purple first sector of 43.2. So the engine pitch kind of deceives you, but whatever Roslan's doing, it's working, making full use of the torque band, getting the maximum drive out of the car, and he is currently on set time. He is currently on course for this pole position. Though he is coming into some traffic in the form of Johan Patijs in front of him.
Perhaps he can get a slipstream? No. Patijs is getting out of the way there.
Johan pulls off. I thought he would. And it's a green second sector. This could full well be pole from Arif Roslan here in the Invictus Motorsport car with 55 on the clock. Most drivers are out. Possibly going to improve, but Roslan is possibly going to go pole here. Watch the standings as he opens the DRS. What is the time going to be for the Malaysian? He comes on the start finish. It's going to be a 1 minute 38.3. He doesn't get it.
Just too little compared to Hutchinson. Only 8 hundredths of a second there compared to the fastest time of Mark Hutchinson. And there's no laps remaining for Roslan to try and improve on his last lap time. So he's going to have to hope that his teammate Christian Lazaro doesn't improve too much and snatches that front row seat away from him again.
Yeah, Roslan currently standing second. He's going to hope Lazaro doesn't get that place. Mark Hutchinson has just set a personal best through Sector 1 though. So this could be on course for another improvement from Hutchinson and to confirm that pole. But mind you, Christian Lazaro has done a purple Sector 2. This is really hotting up here in Baku now. Lazaro had a very good first sector as well, only 4 thousandths down on Hutchinson's best. This could be pole from Lazaro as he comes down the start finish, opens the DRS. Will it be pole position provisionally for the driver? Will it do it? Will Lazaro get it? Yes, he will. 38.252. Hutchinson's backed out. He will not improve. It comes down to Alessandro Quintai now, who is probably not going to go pole. He's got a white sector 2 here. That is 2 tenths down on Lazaro's previous, but it could be an improvement for him nonetheless. For Quintai here as he comes down the start finish there. What will Alessandro do? He won't improve, so that is no improvement for Alessandro Quintai here. David Murchek as well has gone 6th. Tom Oldenmenger has gone 4th. Tom Oldenmenger 4th there. An improvement massively for him. Johan Bataille does not improve. Kostas Golomadis is the last car on track, and he will not improve either. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! What a qualifying session that was. But at the end of it, Christian Lazaro will gain pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. 0.055 ahead of Mark Hutchinson, who didn't quite get the last lap in. Could have improved, but didn't. Arif Roslan 3rd. The Malaysian gets a 3rd place. That will more than make up for his failure to finish at the Australian Grand Prix. Tom Oldenmenger out of nowhere into 4th, Felix. That was a great lap.
It indeed was an amazing lap for Oldenmenger there. Needs to do a good lap. Obviously finished 2nd in the last race and 3rd in the championship standings right now. So I guess he would want to start a little bit further to the front row than where he was before that lap. Good qualifying for him there, I think.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, Tom Satherley as well. Nothing to be ashamed of. That 5th place, a very good result for him. Followed by Alessandro Quintai as well in the Pescara car. Then it was David Murchek and then Harley Hamnet in P8. A very good result from the Australian. Victor Ivanov 9th and Matthias Coleman rounding out our top 10 in qualifying. So, what a qualifying session that was, and it set us up for a very good race indeed, I'm sure of that. And one that I am certain will be action-packed and is going to be a very interesting one indeed. We're going to be back in a couple of moments as we just take a short break while we bring you a couple of messages. But stay tuned as we get ready to go green at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here at Formula Sim Racing.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
You'll let me play?
Yeah, I have to play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race you for it.
So I have to hand it.
Welcome back to Formula Sim Racing Round 3 of the Pro Championship here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the Baku City Circuit. Joshua Anderson here alongside Felix from Delft once again, and well, we hope you've enjoyed that short break, but we're about to go racing. We've got about 3 minutes to go until the cars hit the track for the race. Of course, it will be 41 laps of action here at Baku. Should be about an hour's worth of action on track, and well, strategy-wise, we are looking at a couple of possible interesting strategies here. I would say, looking at the tyre compounds that we have around here, I'd say we'd be looking at about a 1 or a 2 stop strategy for most of these cars. But, of course, different drivers might have had different ideas, so we're going to have to watch out and see for sure exactly what drivers choose to do. Of course, you know, as much as we can talk about strategy, Felix, ultimately the best strategy is the ones that the drivers make work.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen it in the last 2 races as well, in Australia and in China. There's a lot of different strategies that in the end always come together and start to fight with each other. In China, for example, we had drivers on a 2-stop, drivers on a 1-stop with a harder tire. And in the end, it was basically everybody in the last 2 laps coming together and fighting for a position on track, which was really great to see. But difficult for us to predict what's going to happen, considering that those strategies always seem to find each other in the end. But like you said, it's probably going to be a 1-stop or 2-stop for most of these drivers.
Yeah, of course. And, well, if a driver's as good start of the stint, they might not be as good at the end of the stint if they're doing a 1-stop, because the tyres will fall off. They'll have to deal with increased wear, and obviously I'll be carrying more fuel on those one tyres, so sometimes it can be better just to go for more stops on the tyres, have fresh rubber, be able just to really push harder for longer. And, you know, that's why we see these strategies catch back up with each other. Drivers might be faster at the end of a stint or the end of the race than they were at the start of the race or the midpoint. So it can be difficult sometimes, but obviously the less stops you can make theoretically, the better it is, because you're spending less time in the pit lane.
Yeah, exactly. Totally right there. And I'm sure that these drivers will have calculated their fuels, their optimum strategies. But always in the race, it tends to be slightly different than you've predicted or you've calculated for, because you end up in a fight with the driver for you, in front of you. You make a small mistake, make a lock up on your tire and have to pit earlier. All these things can happen, and the drivers have to react quickly to those small mistakes or things that happen on track.
Yeah, they do, and they'll have to react at the start of the race, which is going to be coming up very shortly now. We are just in the dying moments of the warm-up session. I'm looking up and down the field. Ian Leonov seems to be starting on the medium compound tyres. Matthias Coleman on super soft tyres. Alessandro Quintana on the same. We have soft tyres for Kevin Morville, and we'll give you a full rundown of that when we go to the grid, obviously. But Kevin Peters as well. I'm seeing a lot of variation in these tyres, Felix. This should make for some very interesting strategies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will, like I said before, see some different strategies working out for drivers. Well, perhaps a strategy won't work for a driver. Obviously, that can happen as well. People make mistakes, but I'm pretty sure that that we'll have some exciting races on track and also off track strategy-wise.
Yeah, it should be very interesting on and off the track today as well, of course. Getting ready for the pro race here, ladies and gentlemen. This should be a very exciting affair. And, well, we've talked about some driver strategies, different drivers doing different things. Who's your favourite for the win? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see who the fan favourite is for this Formula Sim Racing race. I expect there'll be a lot of potential choices here from the viewers as to who might win this one. And I don't blame them. There are some seriously good drivers here in the field.
Yeah, obviously Christian Lazaro, first pole position, I believe, for Invictus Motorsports as well, especially in this championship. So naturally, you would say Christian Lazaro is the one to take home this race, but it's not so easy. We've talked about the long straight. It's, well, relatively easy to overtake if you have some top speed. I'm pretty sure the Invictus car didn't have as much top speed as, for example, the car of Mark Hutchinson. So it will be interesting to see what those ICMRS drivers can do with the higher top speed down the main straight. If they can make it work, or if they lose too much time in the first two sectors, that they are just too far back to make any moves down the straight.
Yeah, indeed. And remember, there's the added factor that the drivers who qualified in the top 10 have to use the tyres they used in qualifying. Same compound. Obviously, they'll get a new set, but they have to use the same compound. Anyone further down has a lot more freedom in the strategy. So if a driver didn't quite get the result they wanted, then perhaps they could then switch tyres and go for a longer stint, or maybe even try and go for a shorter stint if they wanted to gain more speed and try and make their way through the field. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, we have 30 seconds to go till the formation lap. 41 laps are coming up at you here in the Formula Sim Racing Pro Championship here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I'd place your bets now, because this one is going to be interesting.
Drivers are lining up in their grid positions, getting ready to start their formation lap. This is the most tense time as a driver in front of starting a race. Obviously, in that formation lap, making sure everything is set perfectly for the race, making sure your tires are up to temperature, making sure you have the right amount of fuel. Would be a shame if you find out right now that you're still driving on the qualifying fuel, but I'm sure all these drivers have made sure that their cars are fully ready to do this race.
Yeah, they'll have worked out all the strategies and set everything up in the setup menus. I'm looking up and down the field at the moment, and might just take a couple of seconds for all of the tyres to sync up properly, but we're going to see exactly what the situation is when these drivers are on the grid. But Christian Lazaro, pole position holder here at the Baku City Circuit. This is going to be an interesting one, I'm certain of it. Remember, of course, drivers using the tyres they used in qualifying if they are in the top 10 in the standings. So that is going to affect their strategies, of course. I'm looking up and down the field. And Mark Hutchinson, second place, is on the super soft tyres, so he'll be expecting it to stop, I imagine. As will Arif Rosland, as will Tom Satherley, as will Alessandro Quintai in positions 3, 4 and 5. David Muracek as well, P6, also on those tyres, as is Ali Hamnet. As is Matthias Coleman in P8, then Kostas Galamatis in P9. Jörg Pitais is actually going to have to start from the pit lane here. He is on the medium tyres. Cameron Roger will therefore assume 10th on the mediums, and that is an advantage for Roger in the top 10 effectively, but starting on mediums.
Yeah, that's a great position to be in. Get the, obviously he's a bit slower in the first laps, but once the tyres of the guys in front of him will start to wear down, he will catch them up and he will be able to go way longer than them on those medium tyres.
Yeah, indeed, and behind Cameron Roger are Boyan Bogdanov and Kevin Morville, both on the soft tyres, not the super softs, just the regular softs. On the yellow sticker tyres there, Kevin Peters behind us on the mediums. Tom Oldenberger actually got a penalty after qualifying from a previous race. He is therefore on the super softs in 15. That is a disadvantage for him.
Yeah, that's a really big disadvantage actually. Pretty sure that the seems that there was a problem with the formation lap, so we're restarting that formation lap.
Yeah, well, it seems that, yep, we have restarted the formation lap. Yep, we aborted the race start, and yes, I think there was a problem with one of the drivers wanting to start from the pit lane, actually, that didn't occur. So, yep, Tom Oldenberger wanted to start from the pit lane. That's why, having received the penalty so he can change his tyres. I thought it would be a bit problematic for him. So there is going to be a slight delay to the race while that is reset. But Tom Oldenberger now, he says, has a new battle plan. He's going to go into war on a different set of tyres. So we'll be restarting the race in just a moment. Well, I've seen it all now.
Yep. Tends to happen sometimes. Drivers making a mistake or the race director making a slight mistake. We're all human and all make mistakes, but seems to be sorted right now. Just give us a few minutes and we'll be going back into the second formation lap, getting ready for the race once again.
Yes, indeed, and I'm seeing the likes of Jeffrey Forney in the comments saying go Costas. Well, Costas Gallinamitis at the moment. He's P9 in the previous. Well, he's going to be starting somewhere around that there, but definitely going to be an interesting quantity in the HM Engineering car there, the number 10, and we'll see what Costas can do indeed. And, well, there's a fair bit of support for Invictus Motorsport as well, and, well, they've had a very good run so far. First and third, I believe, in the qualifying as well with Roslan and Lazaro, so they're not doing badly.
They're definitely up there right now, showing their skills, and I'm really interested to see what they will be able to do in the race. Like we said earlier, Arif Roslan DNF'd in his first race in Australia, wasn't able to compete last race in China, and right now third on the grid. Definitely not a bad position of qualifying, and not a bad position to start the race.
Right, well, take two, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go for it once again. We find ourselves... Oh, well, we're back in warm-up. Oh, dearie me. Oh, man, get your act together, please. I think Cass Riedfeld's going to have words had from several of the drivers who just want to go racing at the moment. But, yeah, this is just not really happening at the moment. Luckily, the grid is going to be reset and we are going to go racing again very, very shortly. Apologies for the delay to the start of this race, but it's third time lucky, hopefully. We are actually going to go racing here in Baku. And, yep, there you go. Cass Riedfeld saying grid is now fixed. This is the final restart. There will be no more. We are going to race. Yes, it is happening.
It definitely is. So drivers lining up once again on their grid slots.
Well, at the very least, the drama's attracted a couple more viewers to the stream, which is brilliant. Hello, if you are watching. Just Anderson and Felix on Delft here. You've joined us just in time because we are off on the grid for the start of the Baku Grand Prix here in the FSR Pro Championship. Obviously, it's showing everybody's on the hard tyres. That's just a thing with rFactor 2. It will sync the tyre colours correctly in but a moment. We already went through the driver strategies though in the previous restart, so we'll have a quick glance over again for anyone who's just joined us once the tyres have synced up. But as we were mentioning, expecting 2 or 1-stop strategies. A lot of the drivers have gone for the super softs, but there are some on the mediums and on the regular softs.
Yeah, I think most of the drivers that outside the top 10 are on the mediums will try to go for the 1-stop, so probably going for a medium and then after that for soft and going to the end of the race. I think the guys in the top 10 with the super softs will probably be going for a super soft, then for the medium, and then for the super soft again, or somebody is gonna try to go to the end on the first set of mediums. I think it's gonna be difficult, but I'm not sure. I'm not the driver here, so I'm not sure how long these tires will last on this track. In the Academy race, we saw most of the drivers doing a 1-stop with the medium, but of course that race is 10 laps shorter than this race, so makes quite a big difference if the race is 10 laps shorter. And we saw quite a few drivers struggling on their tires in that race, so I think most of these drivers will be going for a 2-stop.
Yeah, most ladies, you can see by the standings graphic on the left-hand side of the screen. Top 10 all on the super softs. Joey Peters, Cameron Roger, and then Kevin Peters, Ivan Leonov all on the mediums. Bogdanov and Marville on the softs, and Tom Oldenmenger, who's in the pit, is going to be starting on the mediums by the looks of it. So there you go, 3 compounds of tyre in use at the start of the race. Reminder, of course, the grid order is Christian Lazaro from Mark Hutchinson, from Rosland, from Tom Satherley, from Alessandro Quintari, from Darren Maricek, from Harley Hamnet, from Victor Ivanod, Matthias Coleman, Kostas Galanamatis, Johan Pitais, Cameron Roger, Bojan Bogdanov, Kevin Morville, Kevin Peters, Tom Oldenmecker, who starts in the pits, then Ivan Leonov at the back of the grid. So, 16 cars starting on the grid, 1 in the pit lane. This is going to be an interesting start.
Yeah, this turns 1 and 2, tight corners. Obviously, after the castle section coming up, one of the tightest corners of, well, basically all time. I think, by the top of my head, it's 7.1 meters wide. So, let's hope somebody doesn't try going side by side through there. And let's hope everybody gets through there cleanly in the first lap. In Academy, I don't think we've seen any driver crash there, so far a clean track record for Baku, at least for that corner.
Yeah, clean track record. Let's hope it stays that way. Cars lining up, taking their grid spots now. Of course, Christian Lazaro pulling in to that pole position, and we'll hope that he can hold it. Of course, Ivan Leonov a bit further back. Lazaro pulls in, Hutchinson pulls in. It's going to feel like an age for Lazaro until Leonov takes his grid spot, but it's not very long now. Not far behind Kevin Peters, and Leonov just pulling into the back of the grid now. So he's going to roll to himself. I think Christian Lazaro would be wishing he has that luxury, but he doesn't. But he will be concentrating solely on the start as we wait now for the lights. We have 1 stack, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are go! Lazaro gets a decent enough start, not looking like Hutchinson's going to get the jump on him immediately. In fact, he does have to back off there as we come into turn 1. Looking up and down the field, it's looking like Satherley gets a good start as well, as does Rosland. Maricek as well gets a good start, but Satherley in the wall! Satherley got a bit unstuck there, and he's dropped down to 6th. Harley Hamnet now is having a chance at 7th, but Cameron Roger on the attack. Great start from Cameron Roger. That tyre compound working well for him thus far. He's into 7th place as he gets the jump on Hamnet, gets the dive bomb done, and Roger moves up. Great start from him. Alessandro Guentai in a solid 5th, Maricek 4th, Rosland 3rd, Hutchinson 2nd, but it's Christian Lazaro who holds on to 1st.
Yeah, Cameron Roger there making a slight mistake on those medium tires coming out of turn number 6, I believe, but manages to keep in front of Harley Hamnet there. So good start, great start for Cameron Roger, up to 7th in those medium tires. Now let's see if he can keep those tires working for long enough to keep the drivers on the super soft tires behind him. I'm pretty sure he should be able to, but on the long straights we've seen it can be quite easy to get past drivers.
Yeah, Oldenmenger has started in the pits now, by the way, and he's already made his way back up into the back of this train, actually. Already catching Leonov. Lazaro, though, leading affairs at the front with Hutchinson from Rosland, from Maricek. Quintari is your top 5. And well, it's going to be an interesting one in this mid-pack as well. Cameron Roger with a sensational start, but now under threat from Harley Hamnet, and the Australian wants that P7 for himself.
Definitely was no DRS yet, obviously only activated after 3 laps, so still have to wait a little bit, but perhaps on slipstream alone, this iSim RS car of Harley Hamnet is able to make a move on Cameron Roger. I don't think so. Doesn't seem to be closing in enough.
No, in fact, he has to lift off before the corner, decides to lift and coast a bit. Hamnet going to be pushing hard throughout this race. Meanwhile, at the further back, Victor Ivanov had a bit of a scrap there with Matthias Coleman, but didn't quite get the place done. Ivanov 11th as it stands from Jari Mathiasen 12th. Coleman, though, holding up the 10th quite nicely as it stands. Tom Satherley further at the front is P5. David Murchik 4th. Still no change, but Arif Russell looking to get closer to Hutchinson, but made a slight slip up there.
Yeah, we've seen it before in the qualifying session. It seems that the Invictus drivers have a bit more downforce, so faster through the first couple of corners, through the twisty sections of this track. But on the straights, it is iSimRS who are leading. But perhaps it is enough for Arif Russell to get close enough to Mark Hutchinson through those first sectors, and then with help of DRS, not this lap yet, but after this lap, might be able to make the overtake on Mark Hutchinson already.
Yeah, Hutchinson, Roslan is certainly closing in as it stands here, is Arif, and he's pushing hard to go for this second place. Arif wants it, but we'll have to see if he gets it, of course. Tom Satherley behind will be an interesting quantity. If anything happens, might be able to capitalise on it, as will David Murchik as well. I'm looking at this train for 7, 8 and 9. Harley Hamnet, as soon as he gets the DRS, is going to be in prime position to go for it here. And, well, won't get the DRS just yet. I think it comes in from lap 3. But Harley Hamnet is going to be pushing hard until he gets the DRS. And when he does, it'll just help him out just that extra little bit to get into that 7th place, possibly. But for now, he's got to push hard as we do now enter the 3rd lap of the race.
Indeed, so the drivers that don't have DRS need to be watching out in these small trains that are forming.
Yeah, but Hamnet gets it now, actually. He has just got it as we have started the 3rd lap. But it won't come in much use on this sort of back straight here. It will only really come in usefully on the front straight where you get all the speed. And at the moment, he'll just have to bide his time and wait. Christian Lazaro not waiting at all. He's already pulled out a 1.4 second gap from Mark Hutchinson, who himself had pulled out a second from Arif Roslan. So a gap starting to form already, but not ones that can't be closed down. The gaps are still close enough for some very solid racing here, and that's the good thing. Drivers will not be giving up just yet. The gaps are manageable.
Indeed, Cameron Roger needs to watch out though on the tire disadvantage compared to the guys behind him, and seems to have less top speed compared to Harley Hamnet. So on the back straight, or on the main straight I should say, definitely is gonna be a problem for Cameron Roger.
Yeah, Roger's going to be in trouble here if he makes a mistake, or if he just can't get the grip out of those medium tyres. Remember, they last longer, but they have less overall grip. They're on the super softs that Harley Hamnet is using, so he'll have better drive out the corners, better drive through the corners. And as it stands, Roger is only about half a second ahead of Hamnet, so the DRS is going to be a significant factor here, as Harley Hamnet now comes onto the back straight. He will get the DRS, and he will use the DRS. Let's see what speed he hits. He's already doing 350 kilometers an hour compared to he's 10k up, but 10k is not enough to catch Cameron Roger. At the moment, it's looking like the flag-to-flag driver holding 7th nicely.
Yeah, I think he had a great exit out of those last couple of corners, but now again, Mark Hutchinson very close, even with the DRS open now. Don't think he's close enough to make the move.
Yeah, Hamnet, nothing happening just yet. He's going to have to bide his time. Oh, hang on a minute. He's trying to go around the outside. Roger went wide there. I was watching Kostas Galanamaitis actually, but he did went a little bit wide there. Hamnet got his nose in. Now he's side by side as we come down now into this left-hander, but Roger gets the brakes on later, and that's just what he needed. Manages to secure the position once again.
Great defensive driving here from Cameron Roger, helping his strategy by, well, country miles. Definitely on those medium tires, the much longer he can keep these drivers behind him, the better his strategy is going to be in the end of this race.
Yeah, indeed. And Jeffrey Fournier rightly pointing out the flag-to-flag car. Very good top speed, one of the best of the whole grid perhaps, and that's what's helping Cameron Roger. He is sacrificing grip in the corners, but he's gaining it back on the straights because Hamnet not able to mount enough of an attack here. And while Costa's gun on the mountain, this is actually going to be well within this as well. He's going to have DRS on Hamnet, so possibly going to be a three-way battle here between these cars. Gallagher, I'm watching here as we come into the last turn, gets a very good run through. Oh, Hamnet actually makes slight contact with the wall. He's going to lose a couple of kilometres an hour through there. Hamnet, though, remember, going to be 10k up or so on Cameron Roger. He's looking like he might get it this time. He goes to the outside. Costas too far back. Hamlet's going to get the car in front for the corner, and now he gets it. Finally, improvement from the Australian. Hamlet into P7.
Important overtake for him there. Really important for his strategy to get past Cameron Roger as quick as possible. Took him a few laps, but right now seems to be clear of him. As though I say that, Cameron Roger is going to go for a move again.
Yes, he is. He's going to dive down the inside, and that braking has helped him. He's got the position back. Well, now we know where the strengths lie, don't we? Roger, very good into the corners. Hamnet is better through the corners and out of corners, but Cameron Roger can just get that car stopped brilliantly. I mean, he can afford to take more risks with those medium tyres. He's got a harder compound. Flat spotting the tyres will not have as much of an effect as they would on the super softs. He can afford to push them harder and take more risk. He can afford to run that higher brake power and get the car stopped sooner. So Roger running 7th at the moment, having got the position back. It's a close-knit thing between Hamnet and Roger here, it really is. This could change again on the front straight, and we're going to keep an eye on it. As it does, Hamnet gets... Oh, Hamnet! Oh, dearie me! It has cost him big style, and it's cost Costas Galanamadis as well, who's ran into him. Hamnet just lost the back end there, just lost grip. Rear's locked up, pitched himself into the wall there. And that just ended in disaster, and he's out. He has retired. He lost the rear wing. I'm not surprised yet. Just tagged the back. Car slammed into the wall. Galanamadis ran into the debris, and I think everyone behind managed to get away scot-free, but Costas Galanamadis has suffered big time. He'll have to pit and get a new front wing.
Yeah, let's try to get a look at the replay of what happened there. Just seemed like Hamnet made a mistake on the braking and hit the wall. Let's have a look.
From where I'm sitting as I'm looking at the replay here, Hamnet would have just, he just must have lost the back end or something as he comes into the corner. Yeah, he just lost the back end. Pitched the car into the wall. Rear's locked up. Costas hit him. Nothing could be done on either end, but Hamnet ended up running out. And we got 2 more retirements. Oldenmenger and Peters both out as well.
Oh,
but yeah,
Harley
Hamnet ended up running the old Formula Ford, no front wing, no rear wing, but Kevin Peters and Tom Oldenmenger both out too. Peters had no rear wing either by the looks of it, and Oldenmenger was behind at the time as, oh dearie me, Kevin Peters just lagged backwards directly into Oldenmenger. Nothing either party could have done, and that is a retirement on both fronts.
Yeah, shame to see. Lag incidents unfortunately still happen here in rFactor 2. Hopefully in the future they will get less, it will be fixed, but it's something we have to deal with and something we have to accept, and we really can't solve for now at least.
Well, I mean, it was Kevin Peters who lagged backwards into him, really, so if anything, the internet connection or packet loss was on his end, but Oldenmenger, really nothing either party could have done because you can't predict these sort of things.
Yep. But
either way, I'm sure logs will be sent to Studio 397 and fixes will be worked on. Either which way, Christian Nazaro not affected by any of this. He's still leading in the front here. Arif Roslin, though, we were watching on the cameras, P5 with the DRS trying to catch up on Tom Satherley. And this is an interesting looking battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th as well, because Arif Roslin, remember, he didn't finish in Australia, but he's 5th now. This would be good make up for that.
Yeah, driving well so far. Didn't have the best start. Dropped from P3 to P5, but trying to get back up the field right now. Right on the back of Tom Satherley, and perhaps we'll be able to make a move on him down the main straight. Obviously Satherley will have the DRS from David Morczak in front of him, but perhaps his top speed will be better.
Yeah, Roslin really pushing hard here. Remember, obviously will be looking for more top speed than the likes of Lazaro, who we know actually Lazaro was lacking in terms of straight line speed. Hutchinson had more straight line speed, so maybe the Invictus setup running more downforce.
Yeah, indeed. So let's see who has the best top speed coming out of the last corner now. Or at least last corner onto the straight. Officially the last corner is not yet. Still 2 to go now.
Yeah, Satherley exiting at about 300 kilometers an hour. Rosland about 295. I don't even know if he's going to get the DRS. He might be too far back. We'll have to see if as he comes across the DRS board. Yeah, he does get it actually. That's going to be a benefit for Rosland then. Satherley's setup seems to have been based on the assumption he's not going to get any DRS. Rosland only hitting 335 on the straights, remember. But these cars are in race boost modes. That's why we were seeing 350, 360 in qualifying. They were in full quali mode. In race mode, you're going to be having more about 340 the speeds.
Yeah, indeed. Qualifying qualifying setting for the engine does really give the engines about 80 horsepower or more. So helps them quite a lot, but they can't really use it in the race. If they do, they probably end up DNFing the car because of an engine failure later in the race.
Yeah, I mean, when your car's putting out 1,000 horsepower, it is going to DNF with an engine failure if you don't manage it, is it? I mean, there could possibly be periods where the driver, if they have control over the mapping or the boost from within the car, theoretically they could up it on the straights and try and get rid of an advantage, but if you do that, you're going to possibly find you use more fuel than you'd like, or possibly wear the engine a bit much or heat it up a bit much. And these driver setups will be entirely based on the idea that they are pretty much going to be running race boost, race fuel all the way, run the minimum possible weight, and that really doesn't leave any opportunity to move into qualifying modes briefly, give it a bit of party mode, have 1,000 horsepower and make an overtake.
Yeah, it's definitely something that the drivers have to, consider, but not too much, because if they use it too much, or if they use it sometimes even at all, especially at long tracks like this with long straights, might give them an engine failure too quickly. Cameron Roger, I think, made a small mistake in Sector 2. Now he's going to have to watch out for Jouw Pitaïs behind him, Kevin Morville behind that. Definitely not a great thing for Cameron Roger. He was doing so well inside of the top 10, keeping all the drivers on the super soft behind him, but right now it seems to be struggling.
Yeah, Roger's struggling a bit now. He's got Jouw Pitaïs behind him in the ICMRS car. Jouw is currently about 10 kilometers an hour faster, but we know that's... Oh, dearie me! He got the brakes on very late there. Almost ran into the back of Roger. Had to have bought the corner, and he's lost out big time because that he's probably lost 2 seconds because of that mistake. Now he clatters the wall as well. Oh, it's all gone from bad to worse for the ICMRS driver. Kevin Morville is actually probably going to get the overtake on him now. That's going to move Morville into the top 10. And Pitaïs will be lucky if he's gotten away without any suspension damage.
Yeah,
which he hasn't done. I think the car is cramming.
I think so too. Suspension damage for Jouw Pitaïs. Seems to be struggling quite a lot coming out of the corners, coming into... Almost looked like a brake failure for Pitaïs. Missing his braking point into turn 1 and then also missing it into turn 2. But right now seems to be braking fine again. I don't know. Maybe lack of concentration.
Yeah, maybe brain fade, maybe brake fade, one of the two faded, I don't know, you'll have to ask him, but either which way, Jouw is struggling now, and Ivan Leonov in prime position. You see the car is just left, right and centre, it's like a worm at the back end, doesn't know which way it wants to go. Leonov is just going to be nice and careful here, is the Bulgarian. He's going to try and hold back until the straight where he can try and catch the ICMRS car. He doesn't want to take any risks with the car that's wiggling around like that. Ivan Leonov, though, going to be pushing hard now as we come onto the back straight. He'll know where the position is for him. He'll know the potential, the possibles, any possibility for an overtake he will be able to go for. Meanwhile, Jouw in P11 at the moment. Leonov will get the DRS. I'll check the speeds of the two cars. Pitaïs is 330, Leonov's 350. He's 20k faster, but that's not enough to close the gap, and Ivan will just have to wait for a good corner.
A bit further to the front, Tom Satherley is starting to catch up to David Morcek, and perhaps we'll be able to make a move rather soon.
Yeah, I was going to keep an eye on Satherley, actually, Morcek as well. Going to be pushing out to try and get away from Satherley, of course. Satherley, in his own right, the Go Speed driver, very, very good indeed, and We know just how good he is insofar as he's third in the championship coming into this round, but he'll want at least third out of this round as well, considering that he wants to improve on his positions. But sadly, really pushing hard here in the Ghost Speed cars. We're on board with him as he pushes hard around this Baku City circuit. And, well, trying to catch David Marcek here as well as they come round the end of the circuit. Now, we'll see if Sadly can make use of the DRS, which he should have. He's within range, I would say, for the DRS as we come round now to complete the 25% mark almost of the race. We're almost a quarter of the way through. It certainly doesn't feel like it, but we are a quarter of the way through. That's how fast these cars are. And Tom Satherley now, he's already got the advantage before they even get to the DRS. And this is just going to help him confirm it. He was doing 344, 345. Marcek in the pits, that's why.
Yeah, makes sense. Marcek into the pit lane, lap 11. It's round about where we saw the first guys in the Academy Championship also pit. So I think, well, let's see what tires he's going to the medium tires. So one-stop strategy is still a possibility if he manages to keep these tires alive for 30 laps. It's a long stretch, but perhaps he will be able to do it. Now rejoining right behind his teammate Jouw Pietijs, who is still driving with that slightly broken car, and right behind Ivan Leonov now.
Yeah, he's really going to have to push hard now, Marcek, but he's going to have to manage the tyres as well. If he is going to one-stop this race, he's going to have to do 31 laps on that compound, on that even set of tyres. You know, Pietijs in front of him, his teammate in the number 2 car, cars 1 and 2, the SimRacing cars, of course. And there are several of them, so it's understandable he might get a bit confused as to where they are, but either way, they are going to have to work hard now. Christian Lazaro then might be due in soon, as might Mark Hutchinson, as might Satherley, as might Roslan. All these drivers on the Super Softs might be due in within the next couple of laps then, if we're seeing that David Marcek goes straight in now. So who knows?
Yeah, not the best position to come out for him though. Right behind his teammate, right behind another car. Will be being slowed down a bit. At least for the undercut, not the ideal place to be in.
Satherley in though, he's taking advantage, he's trying to undercut the other drivers. Tom Satherley is in the pits, trying to get it stopped for the pit lane. Arif Roslan, is he going to follow? Yes, he will. So Roslan follows in, Alessandro Quintana follows in as well. Viktor Ivanov has decided not to. Cameron Roger won't, he's on the mediums, and I doubt many of the other cars behind will, but we have several in the pits then. Tom Satherley in, on his box, goes to the mediums. Arif Roslan in, on his box, goes to the mediums. Quintai is in his box, goes to the softs. Well, that is a different strategy there. Possible 2-stop from Alessandro in the Pescara car.
Indeed, possibly going for a 2-stop. Well, I would almost say definitely going for a 2-stop, as he was starting on the super soft tires. Will be going on the softs, not 30 laps. For sure that's too long. Well, it's 29, but still probably too long. But we've seen people surprise us in previous races. Perhaps he will be surprising us today as well.
Yeah, Alessandro Quintai obviously on the soft compound, going to have a little bit more leg room than he would with the super soft, but of course at the expense of less overall grip, and he will see how he deals with that as the stint goes on. Arif Roslan on the mediums, of course. Bojan Bogdanov, his teammate in front, is on the softs, remember, so Bojan started on a different strategy as well, so the Invictus driver not going to be coming in just yet. At the front though, Mark Hutchinson is probably going to be due in soon, as will Christian Lazaro. I expect the two, well, I expected they would have come in together, but Hutchinson's actually coming in a lap earlier. Lazaro obviously thinks he can make those tyres last one more lap. Mark Hutchinson though is in the pits in the number 4 car, the SimRacing racing car. And what will Hutchinson choose strategy-wise? We're expecting mediums, but he's gone for the mediums. Yes, he has. That matches expectations, and he took 4 seconds obviously up on the jacks to switch tyres. Hutchinson then going to exit on the mediums. He will possibly be looking for a 1-stop too. Going to exit in front of Cameron Roger as well, which is interesting because Roger obviously yet to pit. We're expecting him in about lap 20 or so, but he is up to 4th. And David Marchik out! Marchik out of the race! As well as that, I don't know whether this was related to something that happened before. Oh, it was contact with Morville. They got the cars locked together. Hopefully we can go on to the replay of that. But Marchik was coming through at the start-finish straight by the looks of it. And then he came into the corner. And then he took too much curb and locked wheels with Morville. Oh, yes. And then that just tipped him round. We're seeing here, you can see exactly what's going on. Yep, just locked wheels, tipped the car. And then Marchik retired, obviously. Morville went round. Oh, he spun afterwards. That's why. He spun afterwards in the path of his teammate. And he lost his rear wing. That is why. And that has affected Pattaya indirectly because he's got no front wing. So bad to worse for the ISIMRS, the Portuguese. Oh, dearie me. It's just been a disaster for him.
Yeah, bad day so far then for ISIMRS. Taking out almost 2 drivers at once, and end of the race for Marchik, who was doing pretty well. First to stop, obviously, so perhaps an undercut would have worked for him later in this race, but now it's the end for him. Tom Satherley seems to be making a move on Cameron Roger if he has the top speed, coming down the main straight right now.
Yeah, Satherley obviously in P5 at the moment, can't get the jump on Roger just yet, and well, here's a team that's not really having any problems flag to flag. Of course, Cameron Roger, the sole representative of the team in the Pro Series, but doing a good job of it nonetheless. I mean, it's only one car, but sometimes one car is all you need. And Roger proving that, but here comes Satherley in the go speed down the inside now, and that was a fairly comprehensive move there. That was what Tom Satherley was waiting for, getting the jump on Cameron Roger, and on that fast set of mediums, Satherley is up to 4th.
Yep. Great race for him so far. Roger still not doing too bad. Obviously one that started on the medium tires and still hasn't stopped yet. But compared to Viktor Ivanov, for example, he's quite a bit down.
Yeah, Ivanov a bit down, obviously, compared to, but Hutchinson, speaking of Ivanov, he's given fairly good chase on those medium tyres compared to the super softs Viktor Ivanov is on, though he must surely be coming in soon because, well, those super softs must be reaching the end of the lifespan, so Hutchinson won't be pushing too hard. He'll know that Viktor Ivanov will be due in soon, so he'll not be pushing very hard, he'll just be waiting for the inevitable to happen.
Well, let's see what he will do. Go ahead.
Now, I was going to say, just coming down the back straight, is Ivanov going to pit this time or not? Looking like he is, actually. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe he isn't going to pit this time around. He's managing to make his tyres last. I'll give him that.
Yeah, 15 laps right now. Great stuff for him. But will it work in the end? I guess it could. Perhaps he's going for that one stop, going to the hardest tyre after this. Obviously, we'll then have a bit more tyre to work with in his second stint until the end of the race.
Yeah, he's either going super soft medium or super soft hard here, but Hutchinson down the inside. Ivanov doesn't really offer a defence. I don't think he can without the DRS and with worse tyres. But almost at the end of the lifespan, and Hutchinson through there. That's not what Ivanov wanted, and he must surely come in this time. He must surely come in now. I mean, he's been overtaken as well. It's not like he's in fighting for position now. I think, really, if I was Viktor Ivanov, I would be kind of calling an end to this stint and coming into the pits and getting some better tyres on.
Yeah, you would think so, indeed. He starts to lose even more positions now. Satherley starting to creep in behind him as well.
Yeah, Satherley's starting to come up as well. If he loses position to Satherley, I think it's be losing position to Tom Satherley, which would be the kicker if you ask me. I think he'd have to come in after that. It would just be proof that he just has no pace left on those tyres.
Indeed.
So we'll see if he does come in this time around. Viktor Ivanov as he comes around in the second last sort of main corner now before the final straight that isn't straight. And Ivanov, well, he should come in this time, we're saying, but we'll see if he actually does as he comes down the front straight now. Lazaro in, race leader. Christian Lazaro is in the pits, so Mark Hutchinson will assume the lead of the race here. Lazaro comes into the pits now, he's on the soft, so two-stop strategy, and Ivanov does come in. Finally, he's come into the pits here as Viktor Ivanov. Christian Lazaro has been overtaken by Hutchinson. We have better tyres on the exit. Ivan Leonov has come out on the medium tyres. Well, he was never actually in, sorry, that was Victor Ivanov who's come in, and he is on the mediums too.
Yeah, Lazaro, he pitted to the soft tyres, now is side by side with Thomas Sedderly. This is going to be interesting. DRS open for Lazaro, so he'll get the position coming into turn 4. Great stuff there from Lazaro. Strategy-wise, looking good as well. I think he's going to have to stop again on those soft tyres. But perhaps he will prove me wrong. Good stuff for him right now.
Yeah, I imagine this will be a two-stop strategy from Christian Lazaro compared to the one-stop of Hutchinson. So this is what we're talking about. This is going to be the test, really, whether Lazaro can get in as much of a gap as possible, get in front of Hutchinson, pit, and then come back out and go for the win again. This is going to be the question of whether Hutchinson's going to be able to hold on by virtue of making less pit stops. That is the question that we're going to be asking ourselves.
Indeed, we've still got 26 laps to go, so the drivers will show us in those laps. Only 4 drivers to DNF so far.
Yeah, those being Marchek, Oldenberger, Peters and Hamner. Still 13 cars in the race here. And very much race on still between the remaining drivers. And this should be a very good test of strategy between these drivers. Of course, Lazaro and Satherley about 7/10 between them at the moment. Tom Satherley should get the DRS actually. And he's actually hitting the end of the red band already. Look at the speed he's got. 330 plays 350. He's got the DRS. I reckon he's moving into that qualifying boost mode, to be honest with you, to have that much speed with the DRS. I think he's going into that extra boost mode to get that position made, and he's into second.
Yeah, he could well have made that decision to just use it for once. It's a very important position, obviously, in this race right now. If he stays in front of Lazaro for the rest of this stint, then basically Lazaro has no use of that softer compound.
This is what we were talking about before. Tom Satherley has elected, evidently, to move into, well, apparently I'm being told they're not using boost. He just has really good top speed. Well, pardon me then, but if he was using the boost, it would make sense, you know, to have that much of a sudden gain in speed on the straight, but possibly just running low downforce.
Exactly.
It can work, and for Tom Satherley it is working. He's gaining all the time back on the straight, you see.
Yeah, Lazaro is going to have to think hard what he's going to do. He's going to try and push on these tires to get past Oldenmeyer again, or is he going to try to save them a little bit to use them later in his stint? Does throw his strategy up a bit. I'm not sure if he'll be able to adapt to what is happening there and make another strategy or same strategy in a different way work. But let's see what he's able to do here on the straight. DRS will open in a bit.
Yeah, Lazaro possibly going to get the DRS now. Yep, he does. And he's going to see how much speed he can gain. Yep, he's doing 348 now. 340. Satherley is pretty much matching him, actually, bar a few kilometers. So Christian Lazaro not making it up on the straights. That proved to be a very crucial move from Satherley then. As he was 300, I'm just checking actually, he was doing 335 on the straights. There you go. As we have Bogdanov in. Bogdanov is in for Invictus Motorsport. So soft tyres off, medium tyres on. That will be his tyres to the end of the race, we imagine.
Yeah, definitely would think so. 24 laps to go on the mediums. Should be possible.
Yeah, he just decided to use the tyres that were a harder compound before. He's come out on a harder compound that he went in on, obviously, but not really going to have to worry about tyre life anymore. He should be able to get those tyres to the end of the race easily. And, well, Jeffrey Forney in the comments saying, as long as Christian keeps up with Satherley, perfect for him in terms of a DRS train, possibly on a 1 stop. Well, that is interesting. We get these softs to the end on a 1. I would have thought it would have been a 2 anyone on the softs at this point, but I might be wrong. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's got the DRS, then that's going to, you know, increase his speed, but obviously he's going to have to slow down more into the corners. That's going to put more load on the tyres as well.
Yeah, but obviously also gains quite a bit of time in that slipstream with the DRS as well, that he doesn't have to make up as much into the corners. And it will also save him a bit of fuel down the main straight because of that DRS. The lower drag will save him a bit of fuel, can lift and coast maybe a little bit to save even more fuel and give him the chance at the end of the race.
To give you an idea, actually, of how much less downforce, how much less drag Tom Satherley is running, Christian Nazzaro was hitting 337 kilometers an hour at the end of that straight with the DRS. Satherley was hitting 337 without it.
Yeah.
So that's how much better he is in the straights with that low downforce setup, providing the speed that he needs to stay in front. And, well, as long as Nazzaro can hold behind him, he might be in for a nice easy race here.
Indeed. Now Ivan Leonov in P5, starting to close up to Cameron Roger in front. Cameron hasn't stopped yet. Same goes for Ivan Leonov, obviously, but this is a bit of a battle between the guys on the medium tire start strategy. And let's see when they will be coming in. Now 19 laps done, almost halfway through this race. I guess they will go to about lap 20, 25. And then stop for a set of soft tires if they want to make the one stop work.
Yeah, Leonov obviously pushing hard, going to try and get that position from Roger. Roger pushing hard to defend it, both on the mediums, but Leonov on newer mediums, I believe. Ivan Leonov, actually, wait, no, strike that. They're actually on the same sort of life of tyre. They both started on this compound, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which explains a lot, actually, why they're battling it out now for P4. So this is for net track position as well. This is, you know, similar strategies from these two we're going to be seeing. We're expecting them in about possibly 4 laps maybe, or maybe less. Cameron Roger currently hitting 338 on the straights. They're not hitting into 350, but it's not enough. You see, you need a good 20-30 kilometers an hour to make an overtake from that distance. And unfortunately, without the use of boost and DRS, you're probably not going to get it.
Here we go, second DRS straight. Very close this time. Surely he's going to be able to make the move.
Yeah, Roger obviously running very good. Straight line speed setup, but they are side by side into the corner, and Leonov can't make it stick. That straight line speed for you. Roger gets a bit squirrely on the exit, but he's done enough. No more DRS for Leonov until the front straight now. So unless Roger makes a very bad exit of one of these corners, which I doubt he's going to, they should be position made for Cameron Roger. That was a brilliant use of the track there. Just keeping him, giving him the bare minimum of potential space, and Leonov had to back out. Roger, with that car, has got very good straight line speed.
Yeah, great defensive driving, as we've seen earlier today as well by Cameron Roger. Keeping the drivers behind him quite nicely with the help of that that top speed that car has.
Yeah, really using the top speed to his advantage and trying to stay in front and doing a very good job of it. Leonov's really only chances with the DRS here, you'd think, as he comes around at the beginning of the start-finish area again, and, well, let's see if he gets it this time. Roger, going to push hard, obviously. Needs a good exit out of here to try and offset Leonov's increase in speed. But he's going to get as soon as he hits the DRS. We're on board with Roger's rear wing. You see exactly where Leonov is. And he's doing 350 to Roger's 330 odd. And it's not enough again. You see, he's barely gaining. He's gaining, but only barely. But Roger does not get a good exit out of turn 1. Leonov backs out. Does not want to go into turn 2. Wants a good exit now. Wants to try and do what he couldn't get done before. He has the acceleration on Roger now, who's doing 280. They're both actually similar on that front. But it's not going to happen. Roger's going to hold the position again. Well, this is brilliant defensive driving, isn't it, from Cameron Roger here? This is exactly what he needed, Felix.
It definitely is exactly what he needed. Seems to be struggling slightly on the exit of corners. His rear tires might be getting off a bit. So perhaps he's coming in to do his pit stop in just a few laps. Ivan Leonov still looking a bit more fresh on his tires. Still, he is doing a great job defending from him. And Leonov isn't getting past him anytime soon, I think.
Yeah, Ivan Leonov really pushing hard, but not hard enough. He's not going to be able to get through, it seems, anytime soon. given the problems that he's faced insofar as he's not getting past Roger when it counts, though. He is quite close now, actually. He's closer than he has been on the back straight sort of section of the track. This might actually be a manoeuvre coming up if he can keep the car together. Roger only about 2 tenths ahead. He has at least 7 tenths in previous laps. This might be Leonov's chance here if he can just hold on, use the DRS effectively. There's only about 2 tenths in it still. Leonov, I think it's now or never, but Roger's already gaining. Ivan has a slight draft. He's gaining now. Again, it's not enough though. The Netrex car unable to get past that flag to flag. He's going to have to wait for the second chance. And if he doesn't get it this time, I think he's just going to have to resign himself to 5th place for the moment.
Indeed. Now, this is the point where Cameron Roger made some mistakes earlier. And where Leonov was able to get alongside. This time though, again, not enough top speed for that car.
No, he's just not going to get it. I think that's kind of decisive, really. I think that shows Roger is going to hold on to this P4 for now. I think we can look forward now to an impending battle between Tom Satherley and Christian Lazaro. Remember, Lazaro is on softer tyres than Satherley as he has more mechanical grip available to him through the 4 tyres on his car. But Satherley is holding position nicely at the moment. 6 tenths in it as it stands. And Mark Hutchinson only 1.5 seconds ahead of this train as well. So this is very much for the lead between these 3 cars here. Don't get me wrong. They might be further away from each other than is normal, but this is for the lead. Because if Mark Hutchinson trips up, Satherley and Lazaro will be right there to capitalise directly on any mistakes made by the ISIMRS driver. Christian Lazaro will get DRS, but it will be more used, I feel, to get an advantage back, to regain time that has already been lost. Satherley is not going to get DRS on anyone. 335 kilometers an hour. Lazaro only about 5 quicker. So that just goes to show how good Satherley is on the straights at the moment. He is not going to lose Lazaro. He may be gaining in the corners, but Satherley is holding his own on the straights. And really, the gap we're going to want to watch is between him and Hutchinson, because 2 tenths more from Satherley, and he has DRS. And I'd hate to think what would happen if that happened. He'll be up to 360 again. We know he's running low downforce, but the question is, can he just eke enough pace out of that car to get into DRS zone? Because as soon as he does that, he's really in the money.
Leonov is trying again alongside.
Oh, he is! They are side by side now. Roger on the outside. This should be Leonov's now. Oh, contact between the two, but Leonov does get through eventually. But is he going to be redenied by Roger? Yes, he is. Gets straight back in front. More contact, but Cameron Roger fending off everything Leonov throws at him.
Yeah, like we said before, great defensive driving by Cameron Roger. That top speed helping him so much. Right after Leonov made the move, just about on top speed when they were side by side, Cameron Roger just was to get an edge into the next corner and manages to get the position back once again.
Very interesting strategies going on then. Cass Riedfeld saying maybe letting Ivanov by would be strategically better. Leonov by, sorry, I'm getting my Ivanovs and Leonovs mixed up here, but Ivan Leonov might be better off going by here for Cameron Roger. He is actually, come to think of it, he is now losing a lot of time to Lazaro fending off Leonov, isn't he?
He definitely is, yeah. And also will be using quite a bit of fuel going down the main straights to fend off Ivan Leonov. Now Ruslan behind them also starting to creep in.
Yeah, there's a big speed gap, but again it's not enough. Leonov cannot get through. Roger is giving it the full beans, but he's losing so much time to Lazaro. You got to think any chance of 3rd place is off the table now, and he's fighting these cars behind, which are forming up in a train, because Arif Roslin's getting involved now. I think now he has to fight, because so many cars are coming up behind him. Ivan Leonov now going to go down the inside. Roger still fighting though, and I think he will go. Oh, into the wall goes Roger. Got a bit of oversteer, but then he comes to the left. Leonov cut off, and oh, he's fighting. You see, even with that, he's fighting hard. You gotta hand it to him. It's admirable, but slightly, possibly, and he's sliding again. Those tyres must be baked now.
Yeah,
and Leonov's got so much better traction. He's finally through.
I'm pretty sure his car is pretty much, it's almost grabbing down the straights. I think probably some suspension damage.
Oh, big suspension damage from that slide, yeah. That's why Roger now has really kind of doubled down and lost massively. He's got huge suspension damage. Round he goes. There you go. I think that might kind of be it for Cameron Roger in terms of competitiveness in this race now. I think he's got it all to do to get anything back now. That is such a shame. But he doubled down on the strategy and it didn't pay off for him. That's just sometimes the way the biscuit breaks.
Indeed it is. Unfortunate for him, he was doing so well defending from the guy behind him. But like people said in the chat already as well, perhaps not the best way the strategy would have worked out for him, because he was losing so much time to the guys before in front of him and also behind him. Now, the battle for P2, Christian Lazaro, Tom Sadley still going on, but...
Yeah. Leonov in, by the way. Leonov has come in behind, so that would have been... He would have benefited massively from just letting him through, to be honest, Roger. They could have come in at the same time and kept on with each other. But, as you rightly say, Hutchinson, Satherley, Lazaro. Satherley's actually only 1.1 behind now, and there's 6 tenths between him and Lazaro, so this is really close-knit stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Now, Roger has actually come in and he seemed to try and fix the suspension damage he's taken in and amongst all this, or do anything to make the car better. But yeah, Leonov obviously having come out now of the pits on the softs, he should be going to the end on them. Cameron Roger coming out as well on soft tyres. Suspension damage has not been fixed though. Car's still grabbing. He's going to have to fight with that for the rest of the race. That is the punishment, unfortunately, for slipping up and making a mistake. He's got to deal with that suspension damage all race now. That's going to slow him down at least a second or half, you'd think.
Yeah, for sure. He's going to lose a lot of time.
Oh, look at Satherley though. Look at Satherley. He's only 1.053 down. He is so close to getting the DRS here. Lazaro is so close to getting the DRS, but we know he's not going to gain much because Satherley low on downforce. If Tom Satherley gets the DRS, this could be over for Mark Hutchinson, but it's not. I don't think he's going to get it, actually. He might not. He hasn't. But Hutchinson's going to struggle anyway because Hutchinson's doing 333. Satherley going 4 kilometers an hour faster. Now he's within DRS zone. If there is a second detection point, he will get it on the back straight.
Yep, here we go. The detection point should have the DRS right now on Mark Hutchinson. Yes, opens up nicely there. And Hutchinson has to watch out right now. Perhaps he was saving a little bit, letting the guys come in a bit too far. But perhaps he saved his tires, saved his fuel slightly compared to the drivers behind him, and might help him in the latter parts of this race.
Yeah, this is really the fun part now. Tom Satherley pushing hard. He knows he's got the DRS now, so if he can just keep within this range, he knows he'll have him. Mind you, Christian Lazaro on unknown quantity too. He's only a couple of tenths behind Satherley, and he knows DRS will keep him in the fight. So if Hutchinson falls back, he could go for Hutchinson and push him down into third place, and Satherley Lazaro could go 1 and 2. The problem that Lazaro has obviously is the fact that Satherley has got himself that extra speed in the straights. To overtake him there is going to be very difficult, but his advantage is in the corners, so if he can try and get a very good exit, he could perhaps throw a dummy at Satherley and trick him into giving up a place. So it's going to be tactical and tricky driving from Lazaro. Satherley's just got to hope he keeps on to the DRS. But the problem he has is that Hutchinson's gaining everywhere else on track. He's not going to get the DRS this time around, but he might get it into the second point of the second detection zone, but he certainly won't get it in the first.
Today's they're driving without a front wing coming into the pit lane. Not sure what happened to him. Perhaps you can find a replay of that. A look. What happened to Japitays?
Oh, Satherley, I think is just going to get it. He's 0.999 behind. 99999. Hutchinson will be thinking to himself as he now sees Satherley gaining in the straight line areas. Hutchinson under the bridge doing 314. Satherley 10 faster, but he can't keep the momentum after that because he has to brake harder. So Hutchinson, he's relying on a mistake from Hutchinson to get... Oh, yes. I just saw actually... Azerbaijan did in fact go into the wall there on the replay. Lost control of the car. Now he's got suspension damage as well. Big suspension damage. He's got a front wing though, but he seems to be slowing a lot. I think this is pretty much his race done. If it wasn't done before, he's come back out, but serious suspension damage in the same boat as Cameron Roger really here.
Yep, indeed. Lazaro now still behind Thomas Sadley. I think he's growing a bit fond of the rear wing of the ghostly driver in front of him. But still not a bad place to be in. obviously, if he can make his strategy work, obviously he is on that softer compound, will he be able to take it as long as the drivers in front of him are doing as well?
And that is the question. Tom Satherley, though, he's probably questioning his ability to win this race right now because he's still not within DRS range in the first zone, and that's what he needs, really. He needs DRS in the first if he's got any chance of getting into the lead of this race, and unless he's gained that point or two, well, he has got it, he's got it! Now, finally, Tom Satherley can open up that car. He's going to have the advantage by 10 kilometers an hour on Hutchinson. Now he's going to have it in the second zone as well. This is the start of the attack from Tom Satherley. It has to be. There's no two ways about it. Now, he's got an advantage on Mark Hutchinson. This is what Hutchinson will have been waiting for.
Yeah, he's been able to keep him behind for quite a few laps. But now Satherley has got that DRS. Let's see if he keeps it through the twisty part of this track. Obviously, we know that he has a bit of a worse car on downforce here. So if he can keep close enough, he will be having the DRS once again down the main straight. But so far it seems that he's still struggling around that 1 second mark. Gonna be close coming up to the detection point later on in the lap.
Yeah, I'm interested as well in what the championship ramifications are going to be for this as well, because obviously Tom Satherley having a fantastic race at the moment, on for a second consecutive second place. Darren Maricek out of the race. Mark Hutchinson going to be on for a second win. I imagine Hutchinson would take the lead of the championship at this point, but Tom Satherley would be a very close second behind. So this race is exactly what he needs.
Indeed, he is doing a great job. Maricek, unfortunately, DNF'd, so he is not going to gain any points today and will definitely hand that first place off to at least either Mark Hutchinson or Tom Satherley. If Tom Satherley is able to get the win here, he will be in front of Mark Hutchinson as well.
Oh, he tried to throw Hutchinson a dummy there, making him think he was going to pit, but then he came right back across the track again. Doesn't have the DRS this time around, though. Cameron Roger is retired from the race. Evidently, the suspension damage has proven too much for Cameron Roger. He is retired from the race. Joao Patajas will go in front of him and will assume 12th place with suspension damage himself, obviously. But after a valiant fight, Cameron Roger finally retires from the race. That is a shame as well. He was running well until that incident, and well, it is sad to see him go, Felix.
Sorry, what did you say? I was reading something in the chat.
Oh dear me, he was so busy looking at the chat he hadn't realised Cameron Roger had retired from the race.
Poor guy. Well, yeah, we saw him make the mistake end of his race pretty much when he hit the wall already.
Yeah, question from Carter McCorman. Do you still get points if you DNF in the top 15? Well, I imagine that probably has something to do with the amount of the race you complete, doesn't it, Felix?
You need to complete 90% of the race to be qualified or classified in the race results.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Roger, Maricek, Oldenbecker will not score points. The Patajas needs to make it to lap 37 to be classified. And I assume he will, even though he's a lap down. But yeah, we'll see how he does. Might make another mistake, might end up losing the rear wing on that car, who knows. But we hope he doesn't, obviously. Tom Satherley is now dropping time to Mark Hutchinson.
Yeah.
He had the DRS briefly, but now he's lost it.
Indeed. Maybe his tire is going off a bit more compared to Mark Hutchinson, because he's pushing a bit too much. Still good to see that Lazaro's able to keep with these guys. Obviously has his tires are more worn than the mediums of the guys in front of him. 11 laps remaining in this race, so if anybody is gonna make a stop, that will be right now. Otherwise, I think everybody's going to the end of this race.
Yeah, of course, and Lazaro is trying to catch up on Satherley. I think this is Christian Lazaro's best chance, really, because he knows now Tom Satherley cannot gain on Mark Hutchinson. We're going to overtake by the looks of it further down the field. Well, not an overtake, sorry. Alessandro Quintani is in for Pescara SimRacing team. And he is in the pits. He's on the Super Softs. This will be his last stint then. 12 laps on the Supers.
Yeah, with a relatively empty tank, should be easy for him. Perhaps can get some personal best lap times out there, maybe even session best lap times, because he has the best tire of the field right now.
Yeah, of course, and this is going to be his chance to try and capitalise on anyone with worn tyres. Bojan Bogdanov, first car in front on those mediums, of course. Going to be trying and doing a one-stop is Bogdanov, so this is Alessandro's first possible target.
Now, Ivan Leonov a bit further back is also starting to get close to Mateusz Koolman in front of him. Perhaps might be able to make a move in the main straight just at the end of this lap.
Yeah, possibly going to be able to make a move, but Tom Satherley now was actually coming to the pits, so Lazzaro's got free track. Tom Satherley in. I assume this must be for Super Softs to try and have one last blast and try and make something work, because he knows what's happening now isn't working for him. He must be coming in to try and gain time. Yep, Super Softs. He's gonna have to try and make it work. He wasn't making it work on the mediums. He's gone onto softer tyres. He's gonna have to try and go for it one more time. Christian Lazzaro, I think he's expecting to come in. That's why he's done that.
Yeah, great stuff there for Lazzaro. Will be getting some free track, might be able to push a bit more on Mark Hutchinson. And Tom Satherley obviously will have to push as hard as possible right now. His gap to Lazzaro is 20 seconds, 10 laps to go. If the other guys don't pit anymore, then pretty much Tom Satherley has to gain 2 seconds a lap, almost, to be able to close into the guys in front of him.
You've seen Leonov make a move on Coleman for P5 as well, but Coleman has the DRS on the back straight and he's going to get it straight back. So there goes the second go-speed driver into P5 again, but Leonov now trying to push around the outside on the softer tyres. It's not going to work yet, but he's lining it up. You have several opportunities to line up moves here, Baku, but Coleman, I think, has just decided it for now with that one there. So, Matthias Coleman, Go Speed Racing, into P5 again. Ivan Leonov, work to do. I have to say though, Tom Satherley's strategy is going to be an interesting one, because Christian Lazzaro, I think he's expecting to come in again. This might backfire if he doesn't come in again, but Satherley now can push for 10 straight laps on these super soft tyres, and he's going to have the grip to the corners that he didn't have before.
Exactly. In the second sector, he is already 2/10 quicker than Christian Lazzaro on his first out lap. Now, just looking at Ivan Leonov right now, he will surely be able to make a move on Mateusz Koolman if he gets the DRS. Obviously, the top speed of the go speed, we've known it will be pretty high. Perhaps Leonov will struggle a bit. I think already closing
I think
in
he's
before,
got it.
yeah.
He's already got the slipstream. Never mind, the DRS has to lift off though, because he's getting a bit close to Coleman, but he has the DRS. Coleman, obviously, about 10 kilometers an hour slower, but now he's going to have the DRS, and maybe he'll just go straight back for it, because we know the go speed fast car in a straight line.
Definitely
So
is.
we'll see if he can then, through these set of corners here. He is getting, well actually, he hasn't got the DRS.
Wow. How did he not get it? Did he lose so much already in turn 1? I guess so.
Possibly. So Coleman now on the back foot until the next DRS zone.
Maybe he just forgot to put it open. Could be a possibility. Not the smartest idea, I guess. Do not use your DRS, but well, who knows. Tom Satherley, first sector 1 on his fresh set of tires. 6/10 quicker than Mark Hutchinson last lap. So he's starting to close in, but this is going to be enough.
Kostas Gallinamatis in as well. In and amongst all this, comes out in 11th place on a new set of super softs. That will be his last stop as well. Going to push for 9 laps. See if he can get past the likes of Kevin Morville, who's just overtaken him. Get past, possibly even make gains on Bojan Bogdanov. That is one to watch out for. Tom Satherley though was gaining on Mark Hutchinson, the race leader. So those super softs are working for him. He is really quick now, Tom Satherley. In fact, he's just at the fastest lap of the race at 1:40.2. That is actually 1.6 faster than Lazzaro and Hutchinson.
Yeah.
So he's got
1.6.
times about 9 is going to be about... Oh, you do the maths. Well, no, I'll do the maths.
I don't think it's going to be enough. It's a bit less than 20 seconds. So if he gains a bit more in these laps, or the guys in front of him lose a bit more time, obviously they are on those worn tires, probably will lose a bit of time even further in these last few laps.
Suddenly on to gain about 12 seconds, 12 and a half seconds here, so he's going to be 6 down at the end at this rate, unless Hutchinson and Lazaro slow down. So it's at the very least going to get him back in the running and let him do some fast running, but those tires are going to fall off too. So I think it's between Hutchinson and Lazaro, to be honest with you, Felix.
Yeah, I think so too, if they both go to the end. Lazaro, interesting strategy to go to the end on the softer tire. Obviously didn't really benefit him that much because he was stuck behind Tom Sutherland for basically his whole stint. But also gave him the possibility, I guess, to save a bit of tires and perhaps use them right now to get closer to Mark Hutchinson and maybe make a move for the win of the race at the end of the, well, last couple of laps.
Well, he just lost 3/10 to Mark Hutchinson there, so he's done a 42.2. Sadly, I think, might be about to go faster again, actually, as he comes across the start finish. What's his lap time going to be? A 1:40.3. He's now 2 seconds a lap faster than Lazaro. If I'm honest with you, Felix, I think this is what he was aiming for, actually. Catch and pass Lazaro rather than worry about Hutchinson. Because if he's 2 seconds a lap faster than Christian Lazaro, multiply that by about 8.
Yeah.
That is
should be enough.
That is, he's aiming for about 15 seconds. I reckon he should have it done in about 7 laps here.
Yeah.
Might be passed with a lap to go.
Indeed. We know he has the top speed, so if he can make it work down the last sector, down the main straight, then he will definitely have a chance, at least for P2 of this race.
There you go. I think that was probably his plan all along, to be honest, looking back on it. I think he kind of conceded the win to Hutchinson there, basically saying to Mark Hutchinson, go on, go for the win, I'm going to get Christian Lazaro, because what I'm doing now isn't working. So he's come in, done this new strategy, he's going to try and hunt him down in these final few laps. He'll be on maximum attack for these final few laps. Lazaro will be trying to manage the gap to Satherley, because he knows if he can find half a second a lap can Lazaro, Satherley's plan might not work. He needs to try and stay ahead, but honestly, when Satherley's going as quick as he's his second faster sector.
Yeah.
With the purple sector too, when he's going that quick, it's just not looking likely.
Indeed. But it all needs to come to, well, the end of the race. What is it, 7 laps? So it's going to be close, but I'm not entirely sure it will work for him, because it is difficult. And one slight mistake on those tires, and those tires are already ruined. So,
well, to be honest with you, I think, to be honest, Lazaro's tires must have hit the cliff now. I mean, his last lap was a 42.9. Satherley's last lap was a 40.2. That is 2.5 seconds, and it is almost a dead cert. If this gap continues to decrease at this rate, Satherley will take second place.
Yeah.
He's 15.9 down on Hutchinson with about 7 laps to go. I don't see that changing, to be honest. I don't think he's going to catch him at this rate. Hutchinson probably going to win by about 6, 7, 8 seconds, I'd say. But, you know, he might make a mistake. Nothing is certain.
Indeed. So
this is the thing.
Yeah. Further back, Azerbaijan is slightly closing into Arif Rossan, who I think made a bit of a mistake somewhere around the last lap. Oh, and I think we have a small issue with rFactor too. Yep. Disconnect for me, so let's...
It's alright, I'll keep you updated as regards what is going on, because I can still see. I have not gone blind, unlike Felix van Delft. Yeah, unfortunately, Van Delft has just lost our cameras for a minute there, so I'll keep you updated on what is happening. He was mentioning Ivan Leonov, the gap between him and Coleman obviously fairly big, but Leonov involved with Roslan at the moment. These two going at it at the moment. Roslan is about 2 seconds ahead. Oh, and he's got the back out, actually gets a big wiggle out of the second to last main corner, and that is going to bring Leonov about half a second closer, so these two might be in for a battle soon. Tom Satherley is obviously still trying to catch and pass Lazaro with many laps to go. That is currently happening. He was 40.5 the previous lap, 2.2 faster than Lazaro, so that's probably going to happen.
Alright, server's just loading the cars for me. And then we will be back with the live action right now. Here we go. Yep.
Way! Lovely. So, Van Delft is back in the server. We have visuals once again. A very quick fix, I should say. Well done on that. But, yep. Mark Hutchinson, very much the race leader at the moment. He is leading by 5.7 seconds from Christian Lazaro, who's been caught by Tom Satherley, who Arif Roslin is about 30 seconds behind. But the real battle is Roslin and Leonov here. This is the real interesting one.
Indeed it is. At least for now, in a few laps, probably Satherley will be close enough to make the attack on Christian Lazaro. Leonov is on the faster tire, at least theoretically. Maybe it's worn more than the tires of Roslan, but for now, he's keeping close and catching him.
Yeah, that's all he can do really at this point. Keep close and try and catch, really. That is the main objective here for Ivan Leonov, to try and get past Arif Roslan, who we must commend, really. He has had a very good race. Remember, he did not finish in Australia. He was managing to get a top 5 here. This would make up for it, you feel?
Yeah, perhaps. Not entirely sure, but could help him.
It would be a very good motivational boost. It would show him that the pace is there, the consistency is there, that he's able to do it in a race scenario.
Right, here we go.
Mind you, Leonov is just about to blast past here at 342 kilometers an hour. Roslan 323. That is the speed differential, and that was really a no-brainer as soon as we saw that. Ivan Leonov into 4th, but still a top 5 for Roslan, very respectable.
It definitely is very respectable. After starting from P3, not ideal for him, but still, after DNFing first race, not attending the second race, I guess a good start for the season for him and his teammate, obviously in P2, helping the team for some points as well.
Yeah, Lazaro holding on to second. Obviously, we don't know if he's going to have it at the end of the race, but he certainly has it now. Tom Satherley, though, is determined to take that off him. Last couple of seconds from Satherley have been pretty good, actually. Second faster in the first, and in the second, that'll come in about a couple. And a second fast, well, actually, only 0.6 in the second. So Lazaro finding something in sector 2 there.
Yeah, indeed. Perhaps he was just taking it slow for a few laps, making sure the tires will be fresh enough to do the last couple of laps, and now started to push once again. Or it's Tom Satherley's tire already starting to go down. Obviously, he's been on these now for 5 laps.
But he still gained about 2.4 in the last lap. Yeah, Lazaro's still in the 43s. Hutchinson has just set a race best of 41.5.
Yeah, so the drivers in front starting to push a bit more now. Now the pressure of Tom Satherley behind them is starting to rise.
Interestingly enough, Cass Rietveld noting that Quintai is gaining on Ivanov, having already passed Bogdanov. Alessandro Quintai on this new strategy could be interesting towards the end.
Yeah, gap between him and Ivanov is only 5 seconds. 4 or 5 laps remaining in this race. If he gains that much, if he gains more than a second a lap compared to Ivanov, let's see, last lap he gained over a second, I think almost 2 seconds. So that will definitely should be enough for him to make the overtake in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, could be enough for him in the last couple of laps. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. Hutchinson running well at the moment, obviously. Currently running 4/10 a sector or so faster than Lazaro. Satherley running a second faster in sector 1. The gap between the two now 3 seconds. We kind of know what's going to happen here, don't we? It was 2.5 actually in the last split. Satherley is going to pass Lazaro. There's no doubt about it with the speed he's gaining. But Lazaro still going to be on for 3rd, it looks like, in that Invictus car.
Yeah, Leonov, unless somebody makes a mistake, 30 seconds behind Lazaro. I don't see him gaining that much in 3 laps, to be honest. Yeah,
Lazaro in 3 laps, you know, Leonov in 3 laps is certainly not going to catch Lazaro when they're doing the same lap times, so
exactly.
Not really going to happen, but Satherley really starting to close in now. This is kind of crunch time for him, crunch time for Lazaro too. Alessandro Quintai as well, let's not forget, looking faster than Ivanov as well by about half a second a lap. And with 4 to go, that could be an interesting one as well, because he's going to gain about 2 seconds, but that's only going to put him half second back on Ivanov. So if Ivanov trips up, P7 could be on for the Pescara driver.
Yeah, could well be. Closing in quite rapidly. And now let's focus on Satherley, because he's very close to Christian Lazaro right now.
I was about to say Tom Satherley is literally just there now, isn't he? He's literally behind Lazaro. I think he knows what's going to happen now. This is Christian. I think he's fought a hard fight, but now the inevitable is happening. Tom Satherley, with just so much more speed, is going to pass him without a problem. He's going to have the DRS. And, well, it's going to be a case of how fast is Satherley going rather than is he going to get through. I'm going to watch his speedo, see what sort of momentous speed he can get up to. Lazaro is doing 300 when Satherley's doing 310. And we're talking 330, 340. There you go. And he's going to have the DRS. Game, set, and match to Tom Satherley. That was the plan, and it's worked with 2 to go. So there you go, on lap 39 to 41, and Satherley's plan has finally worked. He is going to be P2 at this rate. Lazaro can just hold the whole P3, but it's not looking like either are going to catch Mark Hutchinson.
Yeah, he's still almost 9.5 seconds in front of Tom Satherley right now. He's not going to be able to catch that within the 2 laps that he still has to do to the finish line. Alexander Quintai is now also almost at the back of Viktor Ivanov.
That's going to be the one to watch now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in 1, maybe 2 laps. It's going to be close. Because there's only 2 laps remaining. And he is not within DRS range just yet. Perhaps the next lap, if he can close in enough, he'll be able to do that lap. Otherwise, he's going to have to wait for the last lap and perhaps do the move on the finish line like we've seen in Real F1 last year as well.
Yeah, we saw it happen before, but I think what we're going to see now definitely is Mark Hutchinson. He is on the last lap but 1. The next lap will be the final lap, and I don't really think, if there was a driver of the day, I don't think we're going to look past him, can we? Because he's pretty much just taken the whole race by storm.
He has, definitely.
I know, I hate to be boring and all that, but Mark Hutchinson, when you're putting in performances like that, it's hard not to be driver of the day as he comes round to start his final lap now. We'll be keeping close eyes on him as to his position, but we're also watching Alessandro.
OBS is... Yeah, we're back again. Some slight technical problems for some reason. So missed a few seconds of coverage, but we're back now.
Of all the times, oh well, I think it knows when to do it, doesn't it? But Alessandro Quintai pushing hard to try and get this position made. But I'd like to turn focus, if we may, to Mark Hutchinson. He rounds the final couple of sections of the track now as he comes round past the second to last turn. He's coming into the back straight complex. Mark Hutchinson has had a phenomenal race. He really has. He's not had any problems. He's led problematically problematically for the other drivers, but no problems for him. ISMRS have not had a brilliant day at the office, but it's a good day at the office for Mark Hutchinson at the very least. As he comes across the start-finish line in a couple of seconds, it will be Mark Hutchinson, the absolutely phenomenal Mark Hutchinson, the great Irishman, who takes a great win at the Baku Grand Prix. Tom Satherley, an alternate strategy worked for the Australian. He makes his way into second. Christian Lazaro ends up third. Ivan Leonov will probably come home fourth from Aris Roslan, from Matthias Kalman. But the real battle is Quintai, who's battling Ivanov now.
Yep, side by side almost. Coming through the last sector. Oh, Ivanov makes a mistake. Into the wall.
Ivanov! Yes, at the last possible moment. Feeling the pressure from the Pescara behind him, he made the mistake. And that is the end of that for Viktor Ivanov. Alessandro Quintai will be 7th for Pescara. Ivanov will be 8th. Bojan Bogdanov 9th. Kostas Gonomatis gets the top 10. And Kevin Morville, when he finishes, will finish in 11th place, with Joao Pitais 2 laps down in 12th. The retirements being Cameron Roger, David Muracek, Tom Oldenmenger, Kevin Peters and Harley Hamnett. But Mark Hutchinson, a flawless drive.
Yeah, flawless from him, taking the maximum amount of points here once again at the Baku City circuit. Great drive from the Irishman, and definitely will be helping him for the championship standings. Will take over from championship leader David Mrocek, who obviously DNF'd after an unfortunate race for him today.
Yeah, of course, and well, I've got my geography wrong a bit, unfortunately. Thomas Hatherley's a Kiwi, not necessarily, and apologies for that. But yeah, Thomas Hatherley's still a very good race, though. That alternate strategy worked wonders in the end for him.
Yeah, definitely did. Wasn't able to fight for the lead of the race, but definitely P2 is a good getaway from him here at Baku.
Yeah, that was what he needed, really. I think he did concede the win to Mark Hutchinson, but that was what he needed to do to secure second. That's exactly what he needed to do. Christian Lazaro can be happy with the third place, even though he has not gotten the win that he wanted. For a driver who's finished 9th and 14th in this championship, that is 17 well-needed points. And 17 well-needed points that will definitely help his championship effort going forward.
Yeah, it definitely will. And we'll also create an interesting next race at Canada.
Yeah, it will create a very interesting next race at Canada, of course, in this 14-race championship. And Lazaro doing a very good job of holding that third. Ivan Leonov as well, solid performance. Didn't do China, but manages to get himself a P4. Arif Rosalind making up for his mistake at Australia by finishing P5. Matthias Coleman as well, a 6th place to add to his previous 7th. Alessandro Quintai moving up the order as well in the end to finish 7th from Viktor Ivanov, from Bojan Bogdanov, and Kostas Golonamatis ending in the top 10 for 2 top 10s in a row.
Yeah, great stuff for HME or Mila Simsport as well there.
Great stuff indeed, and wow, this has been a fantastic race, hasn't it, really? It's been a great one for sure. I've enjoyed commentating on it. Kevin Morville will be crossing the line now to conclude this race, being the final car across the line, just taking his time really, and
yeah, he's just cruising around,
having a last little run of the mill. But ladies and gentlemen, your Formula Sim Racing action has not come to an end tonight. The pro race may be over, but that is not the end of the race, because we have the World Championship coming up. Qualifying for that coming up imminently, actually. Scheduled to start imminently in about 5 minutes time.
No,
so
actually it's still an hour.
Oh, dear me. Oh, it's GMT. Sorry, it's GMT. That's we're in British time. So what you actually want to be doing is waiting an hour, then going to the World Championship screen for qualifying. And I'm sure that is going to be just as good a race, because that's the full thing. This is a 75% race. And, well, the World Championship, the full 100. And you got the cream of the crop there.
Yep, definitely do.
Some of the best drivers in the world up there, and they're really going to be pushing hard that race. If you thought this was good, that's going to be great too.
It definitely is. So 1800 or 1830 GMT, make sure you tune in. I'll be there again together with Cameron Roger and Peter Schultz. And yeah, I think that's us done for now here at the Pro Championship, isn't it?
Yeah, that's us done, unfortunately. Pro Championship very much completed. Mark Hutchinson with a fantastic win. I would like to thank everybody for watching this broadcast today. I've been Josh Randerson and he's been Felix van Delft. We thank you on behalf of Formula Sim Racing for tuning in today for the Pro Race. Be back in an hour for the World Championship, of course. But one person who will be very happy with the race today, Mark Hutchinson, the fantastic Irishman with an ace win.